Welcome to the Black Narrative, where Black stories are told honestly, unapologetically, and with purpose. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and share this video. Because every story deserves to be heard, and our voices can no longer be ignored. 3 years ago, the accident took my legs, my independence, and almost my will to live. But he gave it back to me in ways I never expected. First, thank you to my amazing patrons. Your support allows me to tell stories that expose the messy, raw edges of life. This one is complicated. Stick with me. The doctor said I was lucky. Lucky the semi-truck didn't obliterate me completely. Lucky my spine didn't sever. Lucky my son Jace wasn't in the car with me that night. Lucky, they said. Funny word for a woman who can't walk more than 10 steps without her legs screaming. Our little house in Ohio used to feel too big when Jace was in school. Now it feels too small. He's everywhere. Cooking meals, fluffing pillows, lifting me to the bathroom when my muscles give out. My boy, my man. Because that's the thing no one warns you about when you have a baby at 16. One day they grow up. True? Jace had always been tall, but at 19 he was broad. Construction worker broad, so his hands were rough, his voice was deep, and his eyes. My God, his eyes. Exactly like his father's. The one who left me when the pregnancy test turned pink. Mama! I jumped. Jay stood in the doorway holding a bowl of soup. You didn't eat lunch. I wasn't hungry. You never are. He put the bowl on my bedside table, frowning. Your leg's acting up today. I didn't answer. He knew. He always knew. Without asking, he sat on the edge of my bed and rolled up my sweatpants. My breath hitched. The scars were ugly, the skin a twisted, jagged mess from the surgeries. Jay's fingers hovered. Can I? I nodded. The first touch was clinical, kneading stiff muscles around my knee. But then his thumb found a knot near my inner thigh, and I bit my lip. You're tight, he murmured. You have no idea. His hand moved higher. Not enough to be improper, but enough to set my pulse thrumming. It was just the heat of his skin, I told myself, the relief from the melting pain. But when his fingertips brushed the edge of my shorts, I stopped breathing. Jay stopped too, for one heartbeat too. Neither of us moved. Then he cleared his throat and lowered my pant leg. Better? No. Yes. Thank you, sweetie. He hesitated as if to say more. Instead, he picked up the soup bowl and left. I stared at the ceiling, replaying the seconds when his touch had almost strayed too far. And for the first time in years, I felt something other than pain. Something dangerous. The second time he touched me, I knew it wasn't just about my leg anymore. Morning light sliced through the blinds. Too bright, too cheerful for the storm in my head. I hadn't slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt Jace's hand on my body. Warm, calloused, lingering. I told myself it was nothing. A son helping his mother. A caregiver easing pain. Yet, the way my skin burned from his touch, that wasn't pain. The creak of Jace's door down the hall jolted me back to reality. I immediately smoothed the blanket over my lap as if he could see the thoughts raging in my mind. Footsteps. Then his shadow filled the doorway. You're up early, he said, his voice rough with sleep. He was shirtless, his sweatpants slung low on his hips. A tattoo curled around his ribs, something he'd gotten last year without asking my permission. I looked away. Couldn't sleep. Lex again? No, you. I nodded. Jay walked in, sitting beside me as he had the night before. Without asking permission, he pulled back the blanket and placed his hand on my bare calf. I flinched. Sorry, he murmured. My hands are cold. Yet it wasn't the temperature that made me tense. It was the way his fingers pressed into my skin, slowly and carefully, as if he were remembering my shape. "You're tight everywhere," he murmured. I swallowed. Last night I could pretend it was an accident. But now, in the daylight, there was no denying the way his thumb circled higher, the way his palm slid up the back of my thigh. "Jace, take it easy." His voice was deeper than usual. "You're fighting it." I wasn't fighting the massage. I was fighting this. The way my body reacted to him. The way my breath caught when his fingertips brushed the edge of my shorts. The way my stomach clenched when I caught him looking at me. Not like a boy looked at his mother. Like a man looked at a woman. A knock at the front door shattered the moment. Jace jerked back. "You expecting someone?" "No." He stood, muscles flexing as he stretched. "I'll get it." I exhaled a shaky breath, my skin still tingling where he'd touched me. Voices drifted from the living room. Mrs. Calloway, our nosy neighbor, asking if we needed anything from the store. Jason's polite refusal, the door closing. When he returned, his expression was unreadable. "You think she suspects?" he asked. My heart stopped. "Suspects what?" He smirked. "That we never paid her back for that casserole dish she brought over last month." I forced a laugh, but my hands trembled because for a second, I thought he meant us. That night, rain lashed against the windows. The storm knocked out the power, plunging the house into darkness. Jace lit candles, their flickering light painting shadows on his face. He sat beside me on the couch, close enough that I could feel the heat radiating from him. "You cold?" he asked. "No, liar." He pulled the blanket around us anyway. Our legs touched beneath it. Neither of us moved away. The wind howled outside. A tree branch scraped the roof like fingernails. Then his hand found mine. Not an accident, not a casual touch. His fingers laced through mine, rough and sure. I should have pulled away. I didn't. In the candlelight, his eyes seemed black. A warning, a question, a plea. The power flickered back on with a sudden hum, flooding the room with light. We sprang apart like we'd been burned. Yet the current between us, it didn't dissipate. One kiss. That's all it would take to shatter us and turn us into something we weren't meant to be. The power outage changed everything. For 3 days after that night on the sofa, Jason and I moved around each other like distant planets. Polite, cautious, hungry. I caught him staring at my mouth when I spoke. His hand lingered when he helped me stand. Once I turned too fast and found him breathing in the scent of my hair that brushed his shoulder. We were like a lit fuse, about to explode. It happened on Tuesday. Jace had just gotten home from work, smelling of sweat and summer heat. He kicked off his boots, his white t-shirt clinging to his sweat-dampened chest. "You okay?" he asked, nodding at my stiff posture on the sofa. "Just sore." I forced a smile. "Long day." Without a word, he walked over and lifted my legs into his lap. My breath hitched as his fingers gripped my calf. "You worked hard, too," he murmured. Words from the boy who rebuilt our patio driveway by himself when insurance refused to cover it. The man who carries me upstairs every night because my bedroom is on the second floor. His thumb pressed into a knot near my knee, and I stifled a groan. "Shh." His voice was rough. "Let me take care of you." But this wasn't care. This was desire. I could see it in the way his jaw tightened as my skirt rode higher. Felt it in the tremble of his fingers as they slid higher. When his hand reached my thigh, I grabbed his wrist. We froze. His pulse hammered against my fingers, then told me to stop. A challenge, a plea. I should have said it. Should have pushed him away and called a therapist and pretended this never happened, but I didn't. I couldn't. So, I released his wrist. His kiss wasn't gentle. It was fire and teeth and 19 years of pent-up hunger. His hand fisted in my hair as he dragged me toward him. Our mouths clashed as if this was the only way we knew how to breathe. I gasped into him, my fingers clawing at his shirt. We can't. We already have. He bit my lower lip, sending a shock right between my legs. You feel it? That's us. And God help me. I felt it. His hard pressure at my hips, the way my body arched toward him like a flower chasing the sun. This was wrong. So wrong. But as his tongue slid across mine, all I could think about was more. We didn't make it to the bedroom. Jace pinned me to the sofa, his hips grinding down as I clawed at his shirt. The fabric tore at the collar, but neither of us cared. Look at me, he growled. When I did, what I saw shattered me. In his eyes, this wasn't just lust. It was love. The bone-breaking kind. The scarring kind. After that, as we lay tangled in silence, reality crept in. Jace traced the idol circle on my bare shoulder. You okay? No. Yes. He knew I was lying, just like I knew he didn't regret it. When he finally spoke again, his voice was so quiet I almost didn't catch it. I've wanted you since I was 15. My stomach churned, because that meant this wasn't an accident. It was an inevitability. Some silences are louder than words. Morning came too bright, too sharp. I woke before Jace. The weight of what we'd done pressed down on me like something physical. The sheets still smelled like him, like sweat and sawdust and something distinctly male. My son, my lover God, what have we done? He found me in the kitchen, staring blankly at the coffee maker. Hey, he murmured, his voice thick with sleep. I couldn't look at him, not bear to see the tenderness in his eyes, the tenderness that should never have been there. Mom, there was a hand on my shoulder. Warm, familiar, wrong. I flinched. The pain that flashed across his face cut deeper than any knife. We spent the day orbiting each other like distant planets. He tried to catch my eye, his fingers brushing mine every time he handed me something. I pulled away, building walls with every quiet, "Thank you," and "Please pass the salt." At dinner, the tension was thick enough to choke on. "You're punishing me," he finally said, pushing his plate away. "I'm protecting us." "From what?" "From this." My voice cracked. "From the way people will look at us if they know. From the shame that will eat us alive if we let this continue." His jaw tightened. "I'm not ashamed. You will be." That night, I heard him pacing in his room. The floorboards creaked under his weight. Every step echoed through the thin walls. Then silence. My bedroom door opened. Moonlight streamed onto the bed as he stood there, shirtless, his chest rising and falling too fast. "I can't pretend," he said, his voice raw. "Not with you." My resolve crumbled because I couldn't either. We didn't speak as he crossed the room. No need. Every touch, every glance, every ragged breath said what words couldn't. This was our destruction, and we plunged right into it. A year later, the neighbors still talked about how close we were. "Such a devoted son," Mrs. Calloway said at the grocery store, "always taking such good care of his mother." I smiled politely, adjusting the new wedding band on my left hand, which no one questioned because single mothers don't remarry, right? Jay's fingers laced with mine as we walked to the car. No one looked twice. No one knew. And that's how we liked it. To be continued. That's today's story from the Black Narrative. If it moved you or opened your eyes, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And most importantly, subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. Until next time, stay strong, stay loud, and stay part of the narrative.